QuantumLevel, Ant-Man, Free Soul Puppets, Maasai warriors, maybe. Maasai magicians, Maasai shamans. So we basically go in very deep. We go into, like Ant-Man, we go into the freaking system. And then we do things over there. We adjust things to free up souls from their puppet masters. Like, Jan, are you my puppet master? I don't know, no, maybe no, maybe yes. Actually, you should be your own mast, your own spine. So, we save the bees and the bees are saving us. Now, this is why I'm talking about, Ant-Man or the Falcon. But Ant-Man can make himself very small. He's like, then he's gone. He goes to the quantum level. Now, I was watching the movie yesterday, and he goes basically to the subatomar realm, and obviously, this is a point of perception, but it's basically a palace in your brain, in your mind, where you operate from. And then, because you are the eye of the storm, I am the eye of the storm, but so is everybody else, but they don't actually realize that, and that's the absurd thing maybe with it. That obviously, I was taking photos of my pupil yesterday. And everybody has a pupil, guess what? Now, quest is, do you have a free soul? Do you have a soul? And then obviously you could do these things, but in this Matrix grid game, not many souls are operating from the substantia nigra, maybe, so to say. So from the primordial point, from the melanin, which is the nothingness in your brain. And from there on, you have imagination. This is why, I would call it shamanism, but you could call it whatever it might be. Imagination, or maybe you have better words for it. That's actually the original creational relationship between you and your surroundings. And that's what, these ancient tribes like the Maasais in Kenya, they were doing that. Or any other, being. Because any being has blackness in them. Is it black, or maybe your primordial point is of a different color, and that's also great. But I'm telling you that you are source. Now, this also gets me into puppets, and maybe Kemetic yoga, and Atlantis, and Lemuria, which connects to Kalaripayattu in India. Your body is the temple. And if your body is the temple, and if certain movements are connected with certain timelines on Earth, you would connect yourself to these ancient, high-level societies. No, so to these ancient, high-level domes, maybe. where people knew, because they were all interconnected already. And it has something to do with antennas. That doesn't mean you have to have long hair, but it's about knowledge, so you know. And if you do now certain movements, for example, you know, kinetic yoga, you do certain kinetic yoga postures, and you're like, oh yeah, that looks like a Nazi thing. No. It's like occultism, you know, and they're basically magic, and black magic maybe, you know, where people are doing certain movements and are like, oh yo, this looks like this looks like that, you know. You want me to decode that for you? Like Nazis, it's ZNS. So basically it's connected to Zen, and it's connected to your central nervous system, and that's connected to your body. So everything that you might think occurs on the outer as certain societies are just mind operations, programs, which are coming out of you. That's how the story goes. So if you're like, oh, these certain people are connected to that symbol, and these kind of people are connected to that symbol, and these people are killing them, and they are killing them. You know what I do? I'm like, why should I kill you if I could give you a print of your body so you would know how to be and how to connect and how to ground or fly or whatever. And this is connected to your postures, because your posture is your destiny, and it's connected to the self-sustaining human vessel via Orion. Period. So because you're spiritual in the first place, then you're densified. Now we obviously are here on Earth and we do things physically. This is why, you know, being like, oh, just go high up in the spiritual realm and stop doing here things on Earth. I mean, yeah, yes and no. It's also possible, but Earth is an anagram for heart. So your heart is maybe very hard, and my heart is sometimes very closed. But basically, it's very open, and this is why a lot of things are going through it and into it. And this is why, you know, there is energy stored. Because I'm open, you know, I'm an open system. Now back to, you know, the Polarians, the Hyperboreans, the Lemurians, the the Polarians, Hyperboreans, Atlanteans, Lemurians, then the Aryans, you know. And you know what? You know what these tribes, was these ancient races, these root races are? You know what they are? They are mind states in your own body. And I could decode that for you. This is why I tell you each and every single letter is a symbol unto its own. And you could flip and trick it around and then you would know. So, Polarians are connected to your pole, which means it's talking about your spine. Hyperboreans, you know, being hyper means you're very much above your head. You're into the ether, right? So you're into the spiritual things. Then Atlanteans, you know, Atlas. The Atlas is sitting on top of your shoulders. It's talking about your skull, your school. So you basically go to your school. You go to your skull through the cerebral spinal fluid, through Kundalini awakening, through basically pumping up water from down here up here. And it's also happening internally all the time, but you don't really know. So you could, you know, put your hand between your butthole and your genitals, and you could, you know, like, you could feel, if you contract that muscle over there, you would pump your own waters into your skull. So into your skull. And so your brain gets nourished. Now this is talking about the Atlanteans. You know, the Atlas is sitting on top of your shoulders. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. Knees and toes. You get it? Right? And then the Lemurians, you know, it's the lemur, more, you know, the blackness, or the reptilian brains. You know, you're like very. If you do certain animal movements, for example, you know, the crocodile, you know, like it's very, like you have spasm, but basically it's electromagnetism fluxed very short circuitly through you. So you get that boom, you get these impacts, you know, when you do these postures. And these postures or these movements are connected to the animal kingdom, right? So to the primordial races, to dinosaurs, you know, if you think they existed. I don't know, maybe they did, maybe not, whatever. But they are still part in or of you. Because everything is connected. It's one of the most oldest things, you know, if you would go even deeper and deeper and deeper, you basically go up higher, because then you would certainly get into the ethers. You would get into the spirits. And you're like, okay, I am already dead in here. Let's move up. And then we would have talk about, you know, the Murians, and then maybe I was forgetting one root race. Then we would talk about the Aryans, you know. The Aryans are basically connected to air. Aryans, you know. And then people flip this thing around with the Nazis, and you know, people don't know, you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but it seems like it's making very much sense. So, Nazis. And you like cut out the vocals. So you would have NZS. One more time. Nervous system. Central nervous system. Zen. It's all only talking about your mind state. And people are too fucking dumb and narrowed to be like, they killed them and they killed them, and then but they killed them too. But also they over there, they killed so many beings over there, and guess what? Nature is fucking wild. And I'm not claiming that these were good things. I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you, forget about his story and get into your story. Get into your story and master your own self and start to sail your own ship. And you know why are you like Jan, stop talking these things and do it for yourself? I mean, yeah. Well, yes and no. But certainly I know I never go anywhere, because this is a mirror game or an illusion, and this is why I'm jumping so much to the quantum realm, to the subconscious mind, to the B-side of the vinyl disc. And, you know, I just operate from there, and I'm like, yo, you guess what? I'm just saying this, whatever. It's my story. See, and this is why this game is so upside down and flipped and whatever, and you know, people, and you know what, my interest, what my interest would be, I would claim that maybe in somebody else there might be another living soul, or maybe I'm just here in my own delusions, nothing is ever happening, and it's only myself here. And maybe I'm somewhere else. I don't know why I was sent here. I'm from another realm, from another planet, from another solar system, whatever, from another universe. And humans, well, maybe they will someday understand what I try to unify here. But I'm like, you know what? Whatever color your outer shell might have, forget about that and work on your inner. And then you have all these color things, and you have like, oh, you have these different cultures, like, yo, get into alchemy, get into yourself, get into maybe Kemet or Kermit, into the Muppet Show. And so you would know. I'm like, okay, now then the question would be, okay, how would we organize this field? Well, like you were ripping it all apart, and what do we do now? Well, maybe I was not even ripping it, because I was just maybe like doing a little bit like this, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Wake up. You have a soul, and if you would, like, basically, if you would, you know, have no arms, you would have no legs, you would only have a spine and your skull, it looks like a semen. And it seems like this is here a giant rally or a race for I don't know what. But you know, I'm like this one seaman who's like, you know what, and all these others, I'm like, hey, you know what, like, don't you see what is going on? Like, this is a water realm, like Aquaman or Ant-Man, you know, and like, we are the insects. We are the virus to the mother, to the womb of the mother. And we're doing all of this shit with her. And you know what, like, Father Time is trying to tell us, you know, hey, like, get into time and start to, you know, like, okay, yeah, why do we need to experience ourselves so much? Because we have forgotten how the whole thing worked. And like, maybe I'm only on the beginner stage, you know, but I have a certain print, and this is very easy, you know, like, drink your urine and maybe fast more, cut down pieces, and then you could also add up things. But it's more like, you know, also with these honeycombs, what I was telling, you know, I was watching Ant-Man yesterday, and then there was the wasp, you know, who's doing all these, you know, pickings. I'm like, yeah, I mean, like, okay, I get it. Like, hey, you know, all what my interest was and is trying to help out. But maybe it's doing harm, I don't know. Yeah, the quantum realm, you know, like, okay, we see things in there. One more time, sun gazing. I see it in the quantum realm, sun gazing. I see it in the quantum realm, urine therapy. I see it in the quantum realm, Shivamukalpa. And I help you to reconnect yourself to yourself. So I see it in the quantum realm, free souls. And maybe then we all, because we are all one, we would know, like, oh, what are you trying to do, you know, like, unify people. Like, no, my interest is not to, you know, like, it's basically, it's melanin warfares, if you would really know, because it's like warfares with substantia nigra, and people are not aware of it, or they can't handle that much information which is fluxing through. All right, maybe we are too many beings here, but at the same time, you know, like, okay, give people something that they are happy with, and they like to do that. So we could, you know, all figure that out, like giant, or very much ancestors. And maybe, like I said, you know, it's not working that everybody has this blueprint, but certainly maybe that might be a cool thing, you know, like although you already have it, you have your body, great, you know, but then we do all these things and then we basically start to harm our body because we have not been told these things. We have not been told, like, hey, you know what, you could move your body, like you can figure out how your own body works. And this is why I'm telling you, you know, these things should be into the educational system. Things like, you know, yoga, you know, like, what is yoga? Like, alright, I mean, basically it's about, you know, mirror consciousness. So I do this movement and so do you. So get into different postures and you will just, you know, like, oh. And maybe if we take a look into Tartaria, you know, and retards, a lot of things that we are so advanced, maybe they have already been here for such a long time, and then we're like, oh, now we have electric cars, you know, we have electric cars. That's cool, you know what, guess what, like 100 years ago we had electric cars. So what the fuck are we even playing and doing here? Like 100 years. And then you see that this gameplay, this theater show is controlled. Yeah, because, yeah, like, you know, give people blueprints, give people red prints, give people rainbow prints. Like, hey, fast more. Especially for the people in the Western world, who think they're so, like, advanced. Yeah, we have technology over here. People in the Eastern world, they have spirit. But if we would put spirit with technology, you know, and then basically, but whatever, technology is secondary. Because technology is basically copying the melanin which sits in your own skull, like an ant-man. You know, you will make yourself very small so you get to all these motherboards and fatherboards. QuantumLevel, Puppet Muppet Show, Spirit, Orion's Belt, cleansing. One more time, you know, the root races, and you know the ZNS, you know, like central nervous system. Start to flip and trick letters around so you would know. You would know. Today I'm going to have a calm day, you know, relax with the keys and the skulls. And that's it. You know the fucking concept. Because the concept is your own body. I love you. Take care.